I decided to make a PowerPoint so it'd be easier instead of having to go between slides to show everybody all of my different parts of this portfolio. So this is my beginning page, and then the first thing that we talked about was that we had do was the standards and a content area standard, and I chose to do English and social studies together and then math and science together, and I used a lot of both the elements from each of these to be able to make everything for my later in my portfolio. So this was my performance assessment. I did a checklist and a rubric, and they were both for the checklist was for English and social studies, and the rubric was for math and science. And in English and social studies, it was my English was to participate in a shared research and writing project, and my social studies was to explain benefits of public goods and services, and the math was to estimate lengths using units of inches, feet, centimeters, and meters, and I based it off of inches, and to use age-appropriate equipment and tools in scientific investigation. Examples were balances, hand lenses, rulers, and thermometers. And so I based those off of that, and then the rubric for the math was that students were able to demonstrate that they knew how to measure inches and that they also knew how to use a ruler to do that. And then my learning styles assessment, I actually have the link pulled up. With my learning styles assessment, it said that I was a auditory learner, and if you're an auditory learner, you learn by hearing and listening, you understand and remember things you have heard, you store information by the way it sounds, and you have an easier time understanding spoken instructions than written ones. And there were different parts of this, and you could actually answer the 20 questions to take the test, but that would take too long, but I'll show you what they actually looked like. And it was just kind of like, that was the first question, then you went so on and so forth into the thing. And my assessment showed that I'm an auditory learner. And this is my peer evaluation, and at first I didn't do my peer evaluation to par, and I made it kind of a little harder for a second grader to learn, and my standards were based off of a second grader because that's the grade that I'd like to teach, around second or third grade. And so I changed it to smiley faces and X's, and I changed the questions to make them more second grade friendly. And I did it to, there was a question of what group are you evaluating, and please circle what you think fits for your peer, for the peers you are evaluating. So they'd get a smiley face if they thought that their classmate used information that was talked about, the classmate was organized, they spoke clearly, and stuff like that. And then this is my self-evaluation, and it's kind of self-explanatory. The students give themselves a evaluation over how they think that they've done, did they listen to the directions, and most of the time with students, they'll want to act like they've almost always done stuff. But if you have a student that goes through marks almost always on everything, then you'll be able to tell that those are the students that you want to actually look at and help and talk to them about it, because maybe they're the ones that don't understand, but maybe most of the students in your class do understand. And then this is my diagnostic assessment. It was based for math and science, and students had to estimate inches, and then they had to measure with a ruler. That went along with the standard that they had to do. And this is my using technology in assessment, and this was one of my favorite things to figure out. I chose to do GroupMe. And GroupMe I absolutely love. I think it's so cool, and I think that you can stay in contact with so many different people, and you don't have to give your number out to parents, and you don't have to worry about getting bombarded with phone calls and texts, because there's no way that you can call on GroupMe. But you can get all the parents, you could group all your parents into a discussion together, and they could talk about stuff together, but you could also put input into it so that the parents in your class would understand what's going on in the class, what needs to be done in the class. And if you have a problem with the student in the class, it probably wouldn't be best to use GroupMe, but to contact the parent instead. But GroupMe is kind of just a homework help, anything that students can do. There's no limit to how many times you can post, which is a good thing, because if a parent has a lot of questions, they can post however many times they want to. And I might be able to get this link to open up. We'll see. Maybe not. But I can actually go to the website real fast, and y'all can see what the website looks like. It's an app that's on the App Store, and let me get it to come up. It's an app on the App Store, and it's free to everybody so that parents aren't going to have to pay. But I think that they've come out with a version that you can actually do it on your phone also, and that's what a message on the screen. This is what a message board would look like. And then it works on every device from iOS, Androids, and Windows. Anybody is able to use it. And you can also use it over text message if you'd like to. And you can share pictures, videos, you can direct message the person that's in charge of it. So if I created a GroupMe for my class, I could have parents that could direct message me also, along with talking in the group with the other parents. And then this is my formative assessment, and I based it off of math and science also, and it's super similar to what I did for my diagnostic assessment. And I didn't really, with the formative assessment, I just wanted it to be to see if my students understood what we were going over in the class. And this is just something that I would give, I'd do like a little pop quiz type thing, and it wouldn't really be a pop quiz, but it would be something that I'd have them do just to see if I knew that they understood, and if they did understand, then we could go on to other things and then do probably a summative assessment. And then this is my modified formative assessment, and with what I did, I added, like with the estimate which line is 2.5 inches, I added which line would be 2.5 inches. They'd still have to estimate, but they'd have an option. And then measure this length with your ruler, and I made it to where the length, there was a ABCD answer. And I also, in my actual portfolio, I made it bigger, but with me having to minimize it down so it'll all fit in here, I had to make it smaller. But on my portfolio, all the questions were bigger so that it could help a student who may be hard of seeing, or just anybody that's hard that can't see something that's typed really small. And then this is my summative assessment, and I included a rubric, and the rubric had, each question was worth 4 points, and if a student had little to no understanding, they'd get 1 point. If a student left it blank, they'd get 0 points. If a student had minimal, they'd get 2. Students have some, they'd get 3, and if students had excellent understanding, they'd get 4. And it says, over the course of this month, we have learned how to estimate inches and use rulers within our classroom. With this information below and what you have learned, please complete this end of unit test. And it's estimating and then measuring a line again with the ruler. And this is my modified. And on the modified, it's a lot longer than what it is. It looks a lot smaller, but I had to minimize it. I might be able to get it to open up. We'll see. There we go. And you can see that it's larger, that the questions are larger, and that there's also ABCD answers, so that that'll be able to help students also. And then this is my portfolio elements, and I'll have to click on it to get it to open up. And these were how portfolio elements connect with the conceptual framework and Charlotte Danielson. And I just kind of tried to take from everything that we talked about in class, and I also researched online and just tried to make sure, or I tried to understand my concept of what I'd learned and put it into this. And I know on this it said Common Core tests, or Common Core rests on a view of teaching as a complex decision making as opposed to something more routine or drill based. And it just goes through all of what I've talked about, and that's the end of it. And that was all of my portfolio. I hope you all enjoyed going through it. Thank you.